Hi folks, it's Jay. A few years ago, a stranger appeared at my garden gate, asking if she could take a look at my garden. I welcomed her in and showed her my garden. In turn, I reached out to her, asking if I could see her garden. She graciously agreed. What intrigued me the most was the name of her garden. She calls it a gardener's retreat. With so many questions on my mind, I paid her a visit. This is Robin's Retreat, a private garden hidden on a quiet suburban street. As I walked through Robin's beautiful yet unusual garden, I began to see there is a deeper meaning hidden in the space we build and cultivate in our backyard. And we're with the gardener, Robin here. Can you say a quick hi?
Hi everyone. I'm so excited to be able to show my gardens. I have such enjoyment from it, and I hope you enjoy it.
Of course we will. Well, can we join you for walking in the garden,
I would
please?
love to have you.
Okay, let's go this way.
Okay.
We're in Orchard Park, New York, and we get a lot of snow here, right?
Yes. Sometimes too much snow, and the Bills games have to be moved to Chicago.
I know, yeah, but that just makes us treasure the summer here even more.
And the fall.
It's just so beautiful. So we're actually visiting Robin's garden in mid-September, but the garden is just so colorful, so vibrant. Let's take a look at Robin's front garden first. So the first thing I noticed is a magnificent climbing hydrangea covering the majority of the facade. How long have you had this climbing hydrangea, Robin?
We've probably had it for about 20 years. And as it's grown, my husband has anchored it, right to the brick.
Right.
It is probably my most beautiful specimen piece in amongst the whole garden.
Yeah, I agree. It just gives you a sense of maturity.
You have to be very patient. The climbing hydrangea is a very slow growing initially, but once it takes off, I also planted another one I'll show you in the backyard on another arbor. It got a little ravaged from the November storm.
From the snow,
we lost probably 25% of it, which it was heartbreaking, but that's gardens.
Exactly, you have to
you just got to go with nature.
Exactly. You have a few different varieties of euonymus, the hedge, and you keep them kind of low, like a low hedge.
I do. I probably do some things to some of my shrubs that other gardeners and arborists would probably cringe at, but I think you do what makes you happy, and it forms a really pretty hedge.
Yeah.
The deer love it in the wintertime, and then it comes back even stronger.
Yeah. I see you have different variety of ground cover. So under the spruce, right in front of us, this is
the sweet woodruff.
Yeah,
yes.
and they are one of the few plants can take dry shade very well.
No, I try to steal whatever starts taking off. I say, okay, I'll plant more of that.
Yeah. What is this, Robin?
That is a variegated solemn seal.
Oh, okay.
And I just love how it just arches, and it just the variegated species is just such a pretty addition.
Yeah, so they also have flower in early summer, right?
They do.
Oh, this is beautiful.
And my ferns were beautiful at one point, but this is September, so I even like the brown. I mean, it just adds an interest of color.
Exactly. Well, can we enter your backyard through this very beautiful passageway? It's just so tranquil, and I noticed you have a very unique watering system. So tell me about it.
We do. My husband, my handyman and partner, added watering systems throughout our whole yard, and we have them coming this way because I think your hardest point of any gardening is just to be able to maintain watering to have it grow.
I agree. So watering is definitely the most time-consuming task for any gardener.
It's monumental.
You have a quite clever system that you set up the spigot at different locations in your garden so you can water them.
You need a degree in science to try and figure out what hose you're turning on. But this just recently, my husband, and when I say recently, we still have the hoses that haven't been hidden underground yet. These now go all the way to the backyard and provide areas that I can just turn on a spigot and have my gardens getting watered. And then we have another handy element of my husband, my little bridge.
This is beautiful. So now we are in the main part of the backyard garden. So this is such a lovely, I would say this is like a patio,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Patio plus very serene passageway.
And this, I just redid this bed a couple years ago because everything, there's a lifespan for things, and
Exactly,
it just,
I agree.
and you can't just say. I always laugh when a gardener says, "Oh, I want low maintenance." There is nothing low maintenance.
Exactly.
It all depends on how much low maintenance you want to do. And this used to be my vegetable garden, but I got too much shade coming with the trees.
Oh yeah.
So I didn't fight nature.
That's a cleome, right? The
Yep,
spider
the
flower.
cleome, yeah.
Oh, I always thought they need a full sun, but this
No,
is
it does. I put it there all the time, along with the.
How much sun does it get over there? Half day?
Maybe 2 or 3 hours. Yeah, because it
Really?
just even these trees only until the sun gets here, and then it gets a few hours.
Yeah.
But
wow,
it does
interesting.
it does okay.
Yeah, wonderful, and the color looks even more
doesn't it?
vibrant in a little bit of a shade.
We've been here since '92. We were probably one of the first houses that was built on the street. No, my husband does all the hardscapes. He built the fences.
Yeah.
He built everything.
I can tell you enjoy collecting
My
garden
trinkets,
art pieces.
my art pieces. Yes, I have my
beautiful.
trinkets that just add a little bit of interest. Especially, as you can see, I have a big hole there because my bleeding heart has come and gone. It was, and I also ravaged them a little bit for the back property. And then I have my triple bird house that's always filled, even throughout the winter.
So your garden must be spectacular in the spring too, or the bleeding heart.
Oh, they just are beautiful. And I like how I have the bleeding hearts anchored on both sides, because the chartreuse color is just beautiful. And then when you get that pink flower, it's just so pretty. You know, I think any garden, if you enjoy it, is a beautiful garden.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter about the size.
In the center of Robin's garden is a stunning porch, which is undoubtedly the focal point. And I like how you just allow the moss grow on the bricks. Yeah, it just
because sometimes you just can't fight nature. I could keep taking it off and it'll just keep coming back.
Yeah,
and it also adds a color interest.
It's very beautiful. Yeah, I'd say the moss would just lend to your garden a very natural look. Yeah, whenever I can, I would keep the moss. So we're just standing at a corner on the side of the backyard and look at the back patio. How beautiful is this?
Oh, thank you.
And I like the cleome because they provide a sense of movement. Even though they provide movement, they stay in a very nice shape. Upright shape, which is important. We don't want things floppy, for sure.
Speaking of my giant hibiscus, which is being held up by string because it interferes with your walkway.
Oh, yeah.
But sometimes you plant things, you say, that's probably not the best area that I planted it in, but sometimes it's too much trouble to get it out.
One of the things that you really excel in your garden is you have the structure. You use the passageway, the patio, and edge to provide the structure. And then on top of that, you add different texture. So for example, the Japanese maple and the very thin leaf hosta, as well as those ground cover. I believe those are some kind of succulent, right?
Yeah, I think it's a sedum. It's a sedum.
And they flower for
They
you
have
too.
they have a pretty flower. I guess you would call it insignificant flower, but it's still, when it's full, it is just breathtaking how it just goes down, and it lends very well to the grade that goes down from the one walkway to the next. No, it's and I guess when you look at this gardens, people can say, oh my God, I can never have that, but I think you just start with your corner, and that's how this one started. We didn't have all this, 25 years ago. So we've been adding on to it and adding on to it and changing. And I think what is really beautiful about gardens is there's always tweaking for gardens. You can always add things, subtract things, share things.
I like Robin's approach to gardening, which is likely the best way to build a garden. Rather than having a team of professionals deliver a complete makeover in a single day, we develop a deeper appreciation for the beauty that emerged through trial and error. And such garden would hold the most joyful and meaningful memories of our lives. Well, we're looking at your back porch.
That would be by my husband. He built the porch and he maintains it. He has given me so much in this garden to be able to build around it. As we say, I do the landscapes, he does the hardscape. I love my outdoors. I love as soon as spring comes, I just start working in the backyard, and I have grandkids and they love coming over here.
I can imagine.
And they also are developing a love for gardens.
And you're also nurturing the young mind to be close with the nature.
My little 2.5-year-old Elliot, she'll come and she'll just say, Grandma, that's so beautiful. That's so beautiful.
So you have the dragon wing begonia.
The dragon wing begonias.
And those are some type of sweet potato vine?
The sweet potato vine,
and on the container on the floor, and so the hanging basket, we have a few different variety of begonia. Well, this is a different variety of begonia. Those are the fibrous begonia, which has a
you can always help me with all those names.
Yeah.
when my mind forgets what I have up there.
And so the trading plant is the dichondra, the savor form. It's interesting that in the warmer climate, like in Texas, the dichondra, people use this as a ground cover.
Really?
So they would just be happy about anywhere. Wow. But here, they're not cold hardy here. We're in zone 5 or 6.
Yep, we're in zone 5, I believe.
Between 5 and 6.
Yeah,
and so they're not cold hardy here. We use them as a trailing element in the hanging basket.
They like a little bit of shade, so they just thrive in that area.
Yeah.
I do the same baskets every year because they perform well. And my hummingbird feeder, because the hummingbirds are still. They are very active right now, I get every last bit of energy for their long travels back.
Yeah. And your limelight hydrangea is magnificent.
Oh,
the flower head was just so huge. They're just bending over.
They're bending over and falling forward. But they're breathtaking. They'll give beauty up through November. And I always wanted the hydrangea tree. Everybody's hydrangeas did so beautiful this year. It did so beautiful. The interest that the hydrangea provides is just...
They start out creamy white, then green. It's just so interesting to look at the transition. While standing on this beautiful porch, overlooking Robin's garden, I began to see why gardening is the vocation of care. The care for our home and our companions, the care for what the future holds, and the care for every living thing. It is the most constant and enduring condition for human beings.
Seems like many of the Western New York Garden members are now asking about bringing plants inside. I have tried to overwinter the mandevilla, and it cannot match the nursery.
I think in nursery they start the young plant right after Christmas, and they use the hottest section in their greenhouse because they really need the heat to get into the growing mode.
Right.
Yeah. But here in zone 5 and 6, we'll be happily use them, the mandevilla, as an annual. So we get to enjoy them from late May all the way till
till I think November. I mean, until the frost comes, and then it goes from green to absolute drops every leaf.
They can even take a little bit of a very light frost, not a hard frost for sure.
Not a hard frost.
Yeah. Oh, this is just so stunning.
I love sharing my gardens and always learning from other gardeners.
I want to share a story that how I got to know Robin. 2 years ago, when I finished opening my own garden, two ladies just show up in my yard, and so one of them is Stacy, my neighbor, and she brought Robin along. People
who was doing gardening in Stacy's gardening with rototilling.
So I was so happy that people just have so much love for the garden. I always open my garden to any garden lover. I believe no one can argue with me that the love for gardening is contagious. Robin showed me the newest addition to her garden, situated right next to a surprising feature at the far end of her garden.
I was still planting up until yesterday. No, I blame Jay for encouraging me and my husband to do many yards of compost and rototilling. What my husband is still in the process of doing, he added watering is the biggest thing, the culprit. If you can't water, then things will not grow. But he put watering systems that are now, as you can see, the hoses are in back there, both the electrical and the water system. So now these will come on and water basically my entire backyard. So that's half the culprit of gardens not growing is having enough water.
Right. And you used to have those timber
as
the edge for this area, right?
We had timbers all here, and then my husband repurposed them and made where now have lighting in my
that's such a good idea. The other thing really surprised me is there's an arbor in Robin's backyard leading to her neighbor's backyard.
Our best of friends. We have lived by each other since '92. That my husband and her husband, they went to high school together. And we didn't even know when they moved in, we didn't know that they were there. My husband built the arbor. I said, okay, we have to open it up to our neighbors because
this is wonderful.
They're our best buddies.
Oh, this is just lovely.
I'm trying to get the climbing hydrangea to go up here, and it's still going. With my oak leaf hydrangea, it just provides just a beautiful backdrop.
And the oak leaf hydrangea, the leaf would turn color in autumn.
Beautiful.
Like very deep red color.
I mean, I even find the brown flowers as beautiful flowers on the oak leaf. You inspired me to do the back of my property because most of it was just all ground cover.
I like how you use different type of hydrangea and different type of grass and hosta to provide different texture, and they just look so pleasing to the eye. Yeah, even in the shade.
This is definitely a very young garden. It's about 3 weeks old. I used a lot of the hostas and I just cut them, from various areas of my yard and added a few things here and there, and the ferns. And you have to really think about what's going to be okay in the shade, because as you can see from the arborvitae and the honey locust trees, I have a lot of shade back here.
Right. I see you have the Japanese forest grass. I'm not very good at pronouncing the Latin name, but the cultivar of those two shrub, Sun King, they stay in this chartreuse, golden, lime green color, even in shade, which just provides such a splash of color in a more shaded corner in your yard. They just instantly brighten up a shade spot.
I'm going to get a few more ferns and just, we'll add. The one interesting thing of trying to plant where you have established trees and arborvitae are the root systems.
Oh, yeah.
So my biceps are now larger trying to get through.
Robin saved the most beautiful part of her garden for last. But even before seeing it, I began to understand why this is a retreat rather than just a garden. This is something they build with their own hands, not to impress anyone or to show off anything, but to live the best life that one can have. But this is such a beautiful view from the passageway. What kind of a hedge is that?
That's a Vicari privet hedge.
Privet. Yeah, so they have the fragrant flower.
Not too much of a flower. It's pretty much just solid green most of the time.
Okay.
I don't think it's a flowering shrub. On the backdrop, I got a mixture of the vines, the trumpet vine, as well as Virginia creeper.
Oh, wow.
And the one beautiful thing about the Virginia creeper is it's gonna start shining very soon because all the leaves turn red, and it is just the backdrop for the fall. It just adds so much beautiful.
And the birds
color.
love to eat the berry.
The berries on.
Yeah. Just as a good book is meant to be read, a good garden is meant to be enjoyed. This retreat brings immense joy, not just to a few, but to many.
Because when we're sitting on the porch, I had all my grandkids over the other day for the Bills party, and they're all playing out there, and I just said, look at how beautiful
It's
this
beautiful,
looks. You know, I mean, not to say just the color. The colors, I think, you don't have as many flowers, but you truly still have such beautiful color. Now with the cooler nights, we'll have our fire pits, and we have the grandkids over, and they make their s'mores, and just enjoy running around Grandma and Grandpa's house.
Oh, yeah. More hanging basket with the same element, the begonia and also the dichondra. So you have the repetition from the hanging baskets throughout the garden.
Just adds a pop of color.
Yes, I mean, adds the color, and also it brings different sections of the garden together. Look at this area. So you have the purple butterfly bush in the middle. I believe those are kind of like a miniature or dwarf variety.
I wish they were dwarf. They get very overpowering in the gardens. I have to trim the top of them, so give them haircuts only because I want to be able to see the hydrangea.
Yeah.
If I had to do it over again, I would switch those places. I'd put the hydrangeas front and the butterfly bushes in back.
What is the name of this plant?
Jay, I do not remember.
Yeah, this
it's just it's an annual, and it started out about 6
It's
inches.
an annual.
It's an annual, and so I can still enjoy the color.
So I thought this is a shrub.
No, this was an annual. I just stuck it in for a color that went initially with my petunias that the bunny rabbits ravaged. So I changed those out and just stuck a couple of mums in for color.
Well, look at the color. We have the creeping Jenny as ground cover with this very special variegated annual plant, which we do not know the name of.
Somebody will give it to us.
And with the purple butterfly bush, with the begonia in the ground. I mean, the yellow chartreuse with the purple and blue, it's just so striking. We're in almost late September, but it's just so colorful.
It's amazing that they still are performing the way they are.
It's so beautiful. And
the bees are still around, so providing a little bit of nutrition. In Buffalo, we so appreciate spring, summer, and fall, although we ought to put up with that one little season.
Yeah.
Winter.
Yeah. I have to say, I would gladly take the winter. I need to catch up with sleeping in the winter.
It will take you till winter to clean up your place.
This has been a wonderful tour. Thank you for sharing your garden.
Oh, I love sharing.